All right, so last chapter, the medieval times, the Middle Ages. What was another name for the Middle Ages? What's another name for it? Austin, go ahead.
Dark
The Dark Ages. Yeah, why do they call it the Dark Ages?
because of all the war and disease and nothing was really changing for a long period of time. It was just basically everybody was peasants and serfs, a few people were kings and rulers.
All right, yeah, good job. You missed one term I was hoping you'd say, though. What was that pyramid we talked about where you had all these rules? Yeah, you got it. Feudalism. Yeah, good job. Good job. So they call it the Dark Ages because this is a time where it just seems like there's no innovation, there's no movement in a right direction. And we talked about some innovations, especially when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to the move to the Renaissance period, but that won't happen later until later. Okay, we talked about the fall of the Roman Empire, which put Europe in instability and almost chaos, right? So they had to adopt feudalism for what? To do what for the people? All. Yeah, good job. To protect the people from a lot of these Viking tribes, Germanic-speaking tribes, and other groups that were looking to just really tear down the structure, any type of stability Europe had. Good. And then we mentioned a lot about how the Middle Ages had a lot of suffering, a lot of times of just unfortunate events, right? You guys remember the article that you read, the primary resources, calamitous? Yeah, the primary resources. Again, it just seemed like there's no hope for the people during the Middle Ages, right? There's a lot of questioning of God because of the Black Plague, how these prayers were just unanswered. You would talk about the Crusades and how a lot of these people were just following the orders of the Pope and just leading them into their death. Remember the cannibalism of the Crusades. Oh my gosh, really stuff. And we also talked about how really the corruption of the church, corruption of the Pope, and even the higher levels within society when it comes to the Pope's leadership. Right. We also then talked about the commercial revolution. So those are some positives of the Middle Ages towards the end, moving towards the Renaissance period that we see emerging in these villages, which brings on innovation, which really benefits the lifestyle and the standard of living of people. Now, these people can seek an education. Right now, they obviously can use that education to apply it to the craft, to an art, and make money off of that art or craft, these services that they apply to the people. And we talked about medieval guilds. What were guilds? What were guilds? Go ahead, Wyatt.
Group of people who shared like common profession.
Okay, good. So these people are most likely wealthy, right? Yeah, so they are kind of deciding the factors of economic trade and really understanding the currency of the time and applying it to the marketplace. And they're guiding, they're shifting the village in more of a different direction. So the economy is starting to merge and transition from what we know of politics. We also talked about politics during the Middle Ages. So what was the Magna Carta? What was that all about? Chris?
It was the Great Charter, which power.
Yeah, good job. Good job. So this limited the king's power and also gave people rights. It gave them the ability, opportunities to hold offices, to hold positions in government. And like I said, restricting the government or the crown, the king's power. Okay, so yeah, you had to understand the Dark Ages where it just seems like things were just going in a poor direction. After Rome fell, it just put Europe in chaos. It put them in somewhat of an anarchical state. And they're just trying to seek some sort of stability, some sort of protection. And we did talk about how feudalism somewhat brought that to the people. We talked about the Frank Kingdom and how that almost looked like the emergence of a new Roman Empire in a way, and how that brought stability with military power and religion, right? Okay. So the Renaissance period, what does Renaissance mean? What does that mean? Renaissance. It's French for something. Chris, go ahead. Rebirth. A rebirth. Yep, good job. So this is a rebirth of knowledge, of principles, of ideas, perspectives from ancient Rome. So make sure you put that down. That's very important. So this is a rebirth of these ideas, these viewpoints, perspectives, knowledge, insight, learning, education of ancient Rome. So they're kind of forgetting about things of the Middle Ages. They're forgetting things of the Dark Ages, feudalism. And now people can apply these forms of education, understand the world around them, and not strictly just go by what the church, what the Pope says. So they're using their own minds, right? They're using their own brains in a way. And with the Renaissance period, what do we know about? What do we know about the Renaissance period already? Caroline, go ahead.
They had a few ways to kill people.
Okay, all right, yeah, so how?
Poison.
Poison, okay, good. Anything else you can add to that, Caroline, the Renaissance period?
They liked art.
They liked art, yeah, good job. So that's one of the biggest things that sticks out of the Renaissance period. When it comes to architecture, right? What two forms of architecture did we talk about last chapter? Connor, Romanesque and Gothic. Yeah, good job. So Romanesque and Gothic forms of architecture. And we mentioned about through the Middle Ages, the Gothic form of architecture really appearing and what you can see in modern day churches. So what are some features of Gothic architecture? Wyatt? Stained glass windows, good job. What else? Matt?
Pointed arches.
Pointed arches, good job. And you can just really see the artistic ability of the outside, its flying buttresses supporting the walls, and the really innovative designs inside and outside of these Gothic style buildings. What about Romanesque? What about Romanesque? What are some features of Romanesque? Why? Go ahead.
Tiny windows that were normally very high up.
Yeah, good job. So they're more just squares, right? There's no real arches within these windows. For the most part, it's not even stained glass. Right here and there, you might see it. Okay, during the Renaissance, they applied more of these features together, these works of art together. And I know I showed you a picture towards the end of last chapter of applying these views of Gothic and Romanesque architectures together. What was that one cathedral I showed you, which applied both of them? Paul? Notre Dame. Have a good job. So, yep, Cathedral Notre Dame. Good. All right, so when and where did it emerge? So we know it happened, the Renaissance period, after the Middle Ages, after the medieval time. Okay, after stability and protection was provided to people through more of a centralized government, well, they no longer needed feudalism, right? We talked about the commercial revolution and how that benefited people to seek a higher standard of living within these villages, to seek a job, to seek a craft, to seek some sort of artwork to apply and make currency, make money, and raise their standard of living. Right? But where did it occur? Where did the Renaissance period emerge, and why? Why did it emerge there of all places? Go ahead, Paul.
In like Italy.
Yeah, good job.
Worked there because they were very well.
Awesome, good job. So yeah, it occurred here in Italy. I'm sure you guys know where Italy's at, right? Right here. And that's really what the look of Italy was during the Renaissance period. It was a bunch of city-states. It was a bunch of different sectors and places where there's different jurisdictions. Obviously, they followed everything by the Catholic Church. Religion was still a high priority. And that will shift, that will change towards the end of the Renaissance period, moving into the Reformation. Okay, but one thing to note about Italy especially is that this will transition more to seeking some sort of sense of nationalism. Okay? We don't see Italy actually unify until literally the 1900s. When you think of Italy, it's really somewhat of a newer concept, a newer country, as it was just emerging and uniting the city-states together. But yeah, why Italy? Why here? Paul, what did you say? They're very wealthy. Okay, all right. So yeah, for the most part, when you think of the Pope, right, obviously he reigns a lot of power here in Italy. But what else? Chris?
Well, they did a lot. They got wealthy because they did a lot of goods and they did a lot of trade.
Good job. So when it comes to trade, look where they're located, right? They're located next to a body of water. Why is that important? For trade, right? And we talked about the Crusades. We mentioned about these pilgrimages to the Middle East. And this is just opening up trade for a lot of these kingdoms, a lot of these areas, especially here in the Middle East. This will be known as the Ottoman Empire. Hey, look, finally has a name here. We don't have to talk about the Byzantine Empire anymore, but now the Ottoman Empire is emerging. So yeah, these resources, these materials are very prevalent to Italy as it's connected to the Mediterranean Sea. So this is almost like a trade hub for all of Europe. So anything going to France, anything going to, let's say, a lot of that has to go through Italy during the Renaissance period. Eventually, this will open up to the age of exploration, where a lot of these countries will just kind of go their own route to try to extract resources, colonize other areas. But at the time of the Renaissance, everything flowed through Italy. So yeah, why not have this rebirth right here at the central hub in Europe? Why else though? Why else? Chris, you got it? Why else? Why did the Renaissance emerge here in Italy? It's all right. Oh, okay. Well, what were you gonna say?
Would it be more accurate to use the rest?
Yeah, we'll get to it here soon. Yeah, we'll get to it. Towards the end of it. I have the next section of notes is gonna be the Reformation. Why else? Why is? Why? Go ahead, why?
And easy access to trade.
I just said that, yeah, so trade, okay, easy access to trade with the Mediterranean. Why else? Why? Chris?
Because that's where the Roman capital was.
Awesome, good job. So ancient Rome, right? That is where the capital was. That's where it was located. That's where all these ideas that they're looking back to apply to their new civilization, this new movement. It was where it's from. Right? The Colosseum was there. A lot of the features of architecture were there here in Italy. So yeah, they can just look back to ancient Rome. It's right there in their backyard. So that's where it originated before. So why not bring that lifestyle back? Why not transition from the Dark Ages to apply these old principles, these old viewpoints, and bring it to more of a modern state? Does that make sense? Okay, so I just want to make sure you guys know where to merge and why the Renaissance emerged. Period. Okay, all right, so I have some terms here for you. Yeah, I won't dive into the notes today. It's a Monday, right? It's a Monday. So I'll give you some terms here, and we'll talk about them, we'll go over them, so then we're ready for tomorrow. How about I just give you a few of them today? All right, so the Renaissance, Reformation, and the First Global Age, this is a new chapter of vocab, all right? A new chapter of vocab. If you want to start a fresh page, go ahead. Or if you just want to continue that list, but have a different section, that's fine. Or if you just write it in your notebook, that's fine too. But I just want to let you know this is a new chapter of vocabulary terms. So the prince, I was going to have you read a little bit into that tomorrow, but maybe towards the end of class, I'll give you time to work on that. And then Wednesday, I'll give you in class time to work on it towards the end of class on Wednesday. So that's what I was having planned tomorrow, but we didn't get to it. That's fine. That's fine. So we got the Renaissance period, House of Medici, the patron, and what is a patron? And then the prince. So the prince is a work of art. It is a really written document that we're going to talk about more tomorrow that I think is important to mention, important to talk about with the Renaissance period. And it talks a lot about how these monarchs should move and how people should really act when it comes to leadership, when it comes to authority. Let's
Let's
Any more time here? Yeah, give me another minute. Chris?
This has been a time period in which this project was
Yeah. You ever see that movie? Been a while.
That got boring.
Seemed like there for a while. I don't want-
Yeah. Honestly, SWAT, like the bucks at the end, they were, and Joe, I'm gonna, I swatted at the sky. I honestly thought something real was happening. I'm not gonna lie.
You mean when the play clock ran out? for
Yeah, 'cause
The play
it's-
and then that
it was-
extra point.
Yeah, it was like batted up,
Yeah.
so it was, anyone's.
Oh, yeah, I thought someone was gonna come down.
But nobody went for it. What was this?
You watch all that? I didn't watch the whole
10-11 where Jimmy G walks out of bounds in the end zone. Jared Goff did that before.
No, it's Daniel Orlovsky. And he goes finally freedom.
Orlovsky. Yeah. All right, guys, so we only have a minute here left, but real quick, the Renaissance period, we had to give it a range, a date. What do we have to?
Oh, a date.
Yeah,
Oh.
what do we think a time period? Alana, go ahead. Okay, yeah, good. So we're looking at the 1300s, moving up to the 1600s about, okay? So if you even want to say the 1500s, that's fine, because that's when the age of exploration, that first global age really kicks off. So if you want to do 1300 to 1500, that'd be great. Okay, so the Renaissance period, we already talked about it, it's just this rebirth of classical ancient Rome viewpoints, education, perspectives, and applying it, okay, to this time of enlightenment. So through the Middle Ages, it just seemed like things were lost, right? Going through chaos, calamities, right? That's why I thought it was important to have that assignment towards the end of the last chapter. Because now we're moving to more of a modern state, a modern view. All right, so the House of Medici, what do we got? Go ahead, Caroline.
They were an Italian family in Florence who had that began under that began to gather prominence under Cosimo de' Medici, and they were also the ones that did the most poisoning, and they killed the Pope.
All right, yeah, good job. So this is going to be a rich family in Italy at the time of the Renaissance. They're investing a lot in this artwork and this education and trying to expand Italy of this time period, especially when it comes to education and artwork. So everything is financed and run through that.
Austin.
Don't worry, you'll get
Friday.
it. I'm bringing my poison up.
Oh, there you go. All right. Hey, see you guys later. Have a good one. Take care.
How you left all your stuff in my red binder, your math stuff? I left my binder.